I've bought and sold over $100 million worth of real estate in my career, and that's come through a lot of transactions of flipping houses and buying rental properties, but I think that in the near future, I should be able to get to $1 billion soon. And in this video, I wanna give you the step-by-step process of how I plan to do it without using my own money. And the cool thing is, I'm gonna break it down into different tiers so that you can utilize all of the skills depending on where you're at in your real estate investing career. I know many of you don't care about doing $1 billion worth of deals, but if you could do 10 million, wouldn't it be pretty nice? So let's jump into it. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan Pineda. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur, and the goal of this channel is to help people live the wealthy way. If you wanna learn more about what that is, you can go to wealthyway.com and get access to our free course, our Discord community, and our planner app. So let me start off by saying that it wasn't too long ago that I was in similar shoes to many of you watching this video. There's no way I would have ever thought that I could have done $100 million worth of deals. In fact, I would have been happy to buy over $1 million in real estate. Like, that alone was mind-blowing. And to show you what I mean, I got licensed in 2010. So I was 21 years old trying to figure out how to be a realtor. And at that time, real estate was at its cheapest price after the crash. And I just remember thinking while I was showing all these houses that, man, these are undervalued. If I just had a little bit of money, I could go flip some houses and make a lot. Or if I just had a little bit of money, I could go keep some of them as rentals and potentially be set for life. But the truth is, I did not apply myself, and it took me 5 years after that before I ever decided to finally flip my first house. It was 5 years of thinking that I needed all this money and that I needed a rich uncle or a friend or somebody to help me out. But the truth was, I could have bought properties back in 2010, just like I did in 2015 for that first flip, and just like I do now this year when I'm buying all these properties every single week. And I want you to know, if money has been your issue to this point, thinking that you need all of it to get started, that is totally wrong. In fact, there has never been more money in the world than there is today, with how much money has been printed and with how many institutions are willing to lend it out if you have a good deal. So with that being said, I want to give you the high-level overview of the different stages you're gonna go through as you accumulate your real estate portfolio and do more deals. So let's start with the 0 to 1 million stage. For me, this is the hardest stage for most people because you don't have a lot of money typically, there's not a lot of people that trust you, you don't have a lot of connections, and you're inexperienced. So the big key during this stage is that you just have to get repetitions. You have gotta go start looking at properties and comping them out. You need to figure out what things are worth, how much things cost on renovations. You need to start networking like crazy and meeting other people in the industry, meeting lenders, just getting around as many people as possible because you don't have any connections and you're starting from the ground level. What also makes this stage tough is typically you're working by yourself. You're not doing any deals yet, so you can't really afford to hire employees. Also, you don't really know how to train employees because you don't know what you need. And this is why most people never get out of this stage, because there is so much confusion and it is the most difficult. But what I'm here to tell you is, if you can get out of this stage, it gets easier and easier, because these are the hardest times. And don't be greedy with what you're doing. If somebody is willing to lend you money on a deal, or maybe you have to wholesale it or JV and give up the majority of the share, just do it and start getting deals under your belt. The goal during this time is not to maximize profits or to make money on one deal. The goal is to simply just get those repetitions in, do as many as you can so that you can advance to the next stage. And that leads to stage 2, which is the $1 million to $10 million stage. At this point, things start to get easier because you've proved it not only to yourself that you can do deals. Obviously, you've already done $1 million worth of deals. Wholesalers and realtors should be much more likely to sell you deals because now you have a little bit of a track record. You can now show proof to other lenders that you've done deals and made money and that you're gonna be a good investment. And you're also gonna start getting better terms with your lenders because you're no longer considered a newbie. But I will say that during this stage, you're still gonna be pretty much doing all the same things you did in the first stage. You're still trying to get repetitions, you're still learning to comp better, you're still trying to figure out what things cost, and you're just improving all of your skills as a real estate investor. It was during this stage that I hired my first person, which was a project manager. I realized that in order for me to do more deals and eventually get over $10 million, I couldn't be wasting my time at projects. I had to be utilizing my time to find deals and network and meet more people. people. So I think in order to progress past this, you're gonna have to continue to get better at the fundamentals, but you're also gonna end up hiring somebody to help you get to this next level. Now that leads to stage 3, which is gonna be a much bigger spread. I'm gonna call it the $10 million to $100 million stage. Now at this stage, you're all in at real estate. You're building out a full-on business. You're gonna have to develop systems and processes. It was during this stage that I created a lot of the systems I use today. If you go look at all of my house flips the last 3 or 4 years, they look literally the exact same. They've all got white shaker cabinets, they've all got black handles and fixtures, they all got this light gray LVT, and the reason is, it continues to sell. There's no point to change it. It may be generic, but it is streamlined. And that's what you're looking for. In order to do volume, you have got to create this assembly line factory style business. You don't have time to customize each and every house like you did in the beginning when you were having fun learning it. I remember my first bunch of flips, we were picking out special things for each of them, but I quickly realized as we started to do scale that it needed to be systematized. And along with that, you realize all of the problems that come with scale. Even though I would show contractors that I wanted a house done a certain way, they would still get it wrong because it wasn't detailed. And so these problems made me create what I call now my contractor's guide. And so now every time I have a new contractor, we hand them this guide and we say, hey, these are the exact materials we use. This is what the cabinets need to be. Every time you flip a house for us, make sure it looks exactly like this. I want these exact materials, no differentiation. And that way we get a streamlined product and you don't know which contractor did what because they all look the same. And that's what you want in a business. You want consistency. There's a reason that you can go to a McDonald's here in your local town and then go to a McDonald's across the country. You know what you're gonna get with a Big Mac. It doesn't change. So these are the things you're gonna be thinking about in this $10 to $100 million stage. You're gonna be building your brand and building your business, building company culture. The other thing you have to start thinking about during this stage is raising money. If you plan to go 10 to 100 million really quick, that means you gotta raise money really quick. How can you meet more people who have money and get them to trust you with their money? The biggest way I've done this is through social media. By putting out content and being transparent, people see what I'm doing and they want to invest with me. But other ways I've done this is through meeting people in masterminds or country clubs or just places that you see wealthy people hang out. There's a reason I golf a lot. It's a lot of fun, but I also meet a lot of wealthy people doing it and we end up doing deals together. So be thinking about your capital raising as you go from 10 to 100 million because you're going to need it big time for the next stage. And that leads to stage 4, which is what I am currently navigating. I am calling this stage the 100 million to the 1 billion stage. Now, obviously, I have not done $1 billion worth of deals, but I do have the goal to own $1 billion in my rental portfolio. So just know that the previous 3 stages I'm giving you based on experience because I have already done it, so I know what it takes. This next stage and the stage thereafter are what I think needs to happen based on what I've seen from other people who have accomplished it and based on what my plan is going to be. So this stage is much different. I cannot just continue to flip houses getting to $1 billion. It's not gonna work. Once you get to doing this amount of deals and making this amount of money, you gotta start thinking about holding really big properties. Me buying a $200,000 house isn't gonna really limit my tax liability or make a dent towards $1 billion. But me buying a $20 million apartment is gonna accomplish many things. It's gonna give me a ton of tax write-offs. It's gonna appreciate much better. It's going to allow me to get into bigger deals and help me get towards that $1 billion goal much faster. And so if I know that the goal is bigger deals, that means I'm gonna have to start looking at different types of real estate. It's at this stage that commercial real estate in general becomes really important. Also new land development. And in order to do these big deals, I've got to raise capital in a much different way than I did in the previous stage. For the most part in stage 3, I was mainly able to use friends and family members to fund my flips. But to get through this next stage, I have to attract new people that I don't currently know that could potentially have a lot of money. Can't buy $1 billion worth of real estate without using a lot of money to get there. So this is the exact reason why I started Pineda Capital. Pineda Capital is a fund where we have accredited investors and they partner with us on all these big deals we do. Last year, we bought a 334 unit apartment complex in Georgia. That was our first deal in the fund. And as of right now, we've got a 96 unit that we're buying in Iowa. And my goal is to purchase 1,000 units in 2022, which will help get me closer to my goal. But the reason the fund's important is it allows me to publicly advertise for fundraising. See, before, when you're raising money, there's a very gray line on how you can actually raise money. If you don't have a fund, technically it can be illegal to go out there on social media and say, hey, I'll pay 12% to whoever will give me money. In order to advertise like that, you have got to start a fund. And so that's why I started one for accredited investors. investors. And so now I'm able to talk about it and let people know that they can invest with me on these deals. You can go to pinedacapital.com and apply. But yeah, this is currently where I'm at. I plan to just do more of this, buy bigger deals, raise more money, just do it over and over again. Now, I will say that this stage is pretty similar to what it was like building my business on the $10 to $100 million stage. On that stage, I was building it for house flipping. On this stage, we're just doing it for apartments. We still need a lot of the same components like a marketing department, a sales team. We need project management. You have to make sure that they're getting leased up and that they're producing income, because that is what determines the value of the building. So that's currently where we're at. We're raising money through social media. We're finding great deals through social media, and I'm building out the team behind the scenes to make sure that those deals operate the right way. Now, I'm not gonna put a time frame on it, but I do think that we can reach $1 billion in the near future. And after that, it leads to the fifth and final stage of anything over $1 billion. Now, obviously, I've never reached this stage. I'm not in it, but talking to people who have reached this stage, I have a pretty good idea of what's gonna happen differently. I had Grant Cardone on my podcast, and he currently owns $4 billion worth of real estate. And he actually said that his goal is to own over $40 billion of real estate. And I said, Grant, what would you do with the $40 billion? Like, what's the point? What's the end game? And he said that he would end up selling that whole portfolio to an institution like BlackRock. And that makes sense. What I have seen from companies in this stage is that you pretty much go to the institutional side. You're now working with these enormous companies that are worth over $1 trillion. And they have a surplus of money that they have to put to work. They're not necessarily looking for the super deep discounted deals that I'm currently looking for in my stage. They're just looking to put the money somewhere, something that is safe and reliable. And it's a very different business model that I'm certain I'll have to adjust to when we get to that stage. And that's the biggest key when it comes to getting through these stages. If you're trying to just do it all by yourself with no help, it's very difficult and you're likely to get stuck and never progress. So my best advice would be to get mentors who have already gone through the stages that you want to accomplish, and that will help you get to the next level. And if you're in any of the stages from 0 to 100 million, I think Future Flipper can help you out. Obviously, I've been through those stages, and we have many of students who are in various parts of those stages that are more than willing to help, along with our accountability coaches. So if you want to be coached by us, you can go to futureflipper.com for a free consultation. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the road to $1 billion. Peace.